Welcome back, everybody, to another net worth update. Today is November 17th. We're going to be looking at the past few weeks of bills. We're actually going to be diving into one particular expense category that we've just repeatedly kind of been going over, and what we looked into, what we found, and what we are going to do about it moving forward. If you enjoy this show, please subscribe to it, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below. It really helps out the channel. With all that out of the way, we'll dive right in. So we'll do a quick recap on the updated net worth. We'll just kind of scroll down here. We'll see we're up to 173,000. So cars are devaluating a little bit. The home is going up a little bit, which always helps. Investment account, I do that in a separate video. We're up over the $2,500 mark. Credit score is still the same. We did pay off a big credit card last month, and it finally reflected. Maybe we paid that off a month and a half, 2 months ago. It takes a while for these scores to update, but that was the biggest jump we've seen thus far. No other real credit card payments, just a small payment. It was on one of these $4,000 cards, just the minimum monthly payments. Other than that, savings account is up to over $5,600. If you're new to this channel, I also have, if you look in the link description below, I have an Excel spreadsheet template with all of your incomes, all of your expenses. You can massage it however you like, but this is going back to September of last year when we really started to get a hold of our debt. We were almost $92,000 in debt, and we really started mapping everything out. We got on a plan, we got on a budget in tandem with using Simple Bank. We've been able to create expense categories for month. Think of them as digital envelopes. So instead of getting an envelope, writing groceries on it, and shoving $500 in there a month, you can do it electronically online. They have an app on the phone. You get his and hers, or her and hers, or his and his, whatever it may be. You get a shared account plus 2 personal accounts, and you can go ahead and purchase the things that you normally would, and they will automatically be deducted out of these budgets. So if you see, we went food shopping, ShopRite, groceries, comes right out of the groceries budget, and then you hop over to expenses. We have $244 remaining for the month, and we give ourselves $550 a month for groceries. So it's an easy way to digitally keep track of where you are, where you're spending your money, and it also will give you reports, I believe, is like how much you've spent in this category for the previous month. It really helps you kind of narrow down what you're going to. But the nicest thing is what we just ran into last month is we just blew through the grocery budget, not even remotely close. Like right now we're actually doing okay. We're halfway through the month. $550 is the budget. We're at about $244. We just went food shopping this past weekend. We're actually on point this week. So let's dive back to the spreadsheet here. So what I do is if you have any monthly bills, you would update them in this column. Just this past month, I did have to adjust the electric and the gas. I put it on an equal payment plan, so that way it just stays the same price every month. This will update every 6 months to a year. They'll kind of do a backtrack of 12 months. So if I'm using more electricity or more gas, they'll bump it up slightly to basically get enough money to cover that moving forward. Every month, you'll notice if you go back here, it was $43 and it was $42, $41. These are all the minimum monthly payments for these credit cards. Those also do have to be updated every month or so. It's only $1. It's not a big deal if you do miss it. But what this does is it calculates how much extra money I should have left over after paying all of the immediate bills. All of the critical bills that need to get paid. This is not including I'm sorry, it does include groceries, but it's nothing extra. For instance, down here's a ton of examples. We needed car tires. We needed a dog runner after a tree fell in the backyard. We had to get a landscaper to cut the tree down and drag it out. We had vet bill for the dog, car repair, furniture for the home, a wedding gift. We did a bathroom remodel that we were just wrapping up. So there's a bunch of things that get spent outside of your normal monthly income, and as long as they're like $100 or higher, you do want to know about them. So when you do get to the next month, you can say, okay, where did all that money go that I thought I had? Like last month I had $7,000, but why did I only pay down $2,000? Well, $3,000 of it went to a home renovation, and I'm sure there were some other things that got kind of spent throughout the month. So for this month already, we've spent about $1,000 in the nursery room furniture. So I'm already earmarking that. So when I look next month and I say, hey, why are we low? Well, we had to buy furniture for that room. So it's especially good of keeping track on this, so you can go back in time and see where these big things, and if you see a trend happening to where, for instance here, landscaping 100, landscaping 1,000, you see if these are repeatable things, or all of a sudden if you have a car repair or just car maintenance and you're spending, you can look back and say, last year I spent $7,000 on car repairs. You should probably be getting rid of that car as soon as possible. So if we scroll down further, here we'll see here, I do have 4 credit cards. These are balance transfers in order to keep my interest rate down. I pay a one-time 2% transfer fee when you first move the balance onto these credit cards. That's it. There's 0% after that for anywhere between 12 to 16 months. Some of them are even 24 months. So these are the days that they will actually be due. You'll see I've got 3 of them here next summer, and that's about $20,000 just eyeballing it. So that's the goal right now. We've got about $5,000 in savings, so I need to get over $20,000 before next summer so I can pay all these off in full when they do get when they come through. That's the ultimate goal, is to target that amount, get these paid off, and then that's 3 less monthly payments. So if you calculate here with savings and checking accounts and our little investment account, if we use all of that to pay down all of this, we realistically have a balance of $16,700 in debt. And I have a formula in here which calculates based on how much of our estimated income. So this is income minus expenses. We should have roughly $4,000 extra per month, which it usually never is because there's always extra things that get out of there. But if you divided this 16,700 by that, it takes roughly 4 months. So that's where we're at. We're hopefully, going to be debt free in 4 months. Baby's on the way. We're probably going to be a month or 2 behind schedule, but that's no excuse to stop tracking or not shooting for that goal. It should absolutely be feasible. And as you can see, even this month, the guesstimate does not include any extra money that we make. So here, 2 computer side jobs, I made another $210. Dog sitting, another $40. We always, and holidays are coming, so Thanksgiving and Christmas are kind of a huge time for us with the dog sitting. We generally have dogs over for a week or 2 at a time, which could be hundreds of dollars of potential extra income. So that does help us speed up the getting out of debt process. So with all that being said, I wanted to shift gears over to, of course, it gets me kicked out of here. I'll just make sure I'm still signed in everywhere. Let's go ahead and close these up. So I did start using a credit card again. I haven't used a credit card in over a year. A lot of people say you're crazy. I had this debate, we'll call it, not an argument, with my brother-in-law about credit cards, using them, not using them, etc. I've always, my whole life, been on the bandwagon of, why would you not use a credit card? They're literally giving you 2% back on your money just for buying the stuff that you already need to be buying. I was in that camp. I was cemented in that mindset until I really started using Simple and getting the budget and saying we can only spend X amount in this category per month. And this allows me to see where all of our money is going cleanly, easily, what category it's coming out of. And the biggest thing was we pay ourselves $150 every weekend. So roughly $600 to $800 a month, depending on how many weekends there are in the month. But we live off this $150. So if I want to go out to lunch when I'm at work, if I'm paying for gas, any little extra things, it's my discretionary money that comes out of my allowance. And same thing, my wife, it comes out of her allowance. She can buy whatever she wants with her own money. So that is baked into the budget, and we don't go over. And right now, if we actually switch to my individual account here, we'll see after payday, I've got $556 here. If I go under expenses, I have a small gaming bill that automatically comes out of my account every month. If I go under goals, I do have a Christmas fund goal, which is almost full. We've got maybe, it says 28. So 2 more paydays. So by the end of this month, I'll have $400 set aside. And that's not counting the $550 that I have that I can spend on anything that I want right now. So if I want to go buy myself a new desk, a drone, a new robot vacuum cleaner, whatever I want, this is my money that I can spend. My wife does not see this account, and vice versa. I do not see her account. And again, I don't care what she spends her money on because we have a budget, we have a shared account, and that's it. It's all the bills get paid out of here, and then we pay ourselves. So with that being said, going back to the credit card feature here, I've only started using the credit card for some of these bigger purchases. So if I go back to the spreadsheet here, you'll see like $1,000 in nursery furniture, $3,000 in a home renovation project. So what I'm doing is I'm saying, you know what, I have this $3,000 available in cash, but they're going to pay me 2% on my money. So for instance, this purchase right here, just by buying it, I have to buy it, I made $20 back in cash. This one, the $3,000 purchase, I made $60 back in cash. So you'll see if I go under the activity down here, we'll see here about $500 went through. There's going to be more coming through shortly, but I made a payment immediately. So as soon as it was ordered, I made the payment as soon as it hit the account of the $497. So the way that I'm handling this is I go right into goals, and I go right into, here's this Citi Double Cash credit card. I immediately earmark the money. I put it as a short-term goal. This is going to hit my checking account next week, and as soon as it comes in, I'm going to pull it right from this goal and pay it right as full. That way, it's not going into my savings. That way, I don't think I have more money than I have. I'm not leaving it in my checking account and saying, oh, I have $600-700 in here, we're fine. That's why I always leave a $200 balance in the checking account. I earmark everything to exactly where it needs to be. So we finally got our bedroom carpet installed, and this is the perfect example. If you looked at my previous videos, we've have $800 set aside for this carpet. Well, the bedrooms were finally painted, everything was done. We scheduled the carpet, they installed that. So this, I'm able to spend from, originally, it comes through just the safe to spend. So it's not actually assigned to, it was just like this, which of course it has to give me an error, but that's because there's just not enough money. It would go negative. That's probably why it's doing that. But all you have to do is assign it to that goal that you created for the money I already have set aside, and it's fine. a lot of people have made comments in the past, well, why aren't you just throwing it all into your savings? Because you're earning that 2% interest, you're losing money. For me, peace of mind and being organized is worth more than the, $1,000, 2% interest divided by 12 months. It's a very minimal thing, and especially with this credit card, I've moved it in here for a couple days. We're talking about pennies or fractions of pennies for the amount of money that it would be here. So with that being said, we're now using this, but very specifically to try to build a little bit of cash back. Right now, you'll see here total rewards, $39.40. And once, I think it's like a $50 minimum. Some have a $20 minimum. Whatever it is, I can redeem this. And what I would do is this cash would just be transferred directly into my checking account. So that's a cycle of some free money we're starting to use when you're just starting out and you're trying to get a hold of your money. This little bit of, let me use the credit card to get the money here, that defeats the whole purpose of budgeting. It creates a lot more work outside of here if you're trying to funnel everything through a credit card, because then you don't know if it's for groceries, if it was a haircut, if it was this, it was that. You have no categorical breakdown of where your money is going. So that's why we're only using it for big, major, unexpected purchases at this point. So anything that is not a monthly expense, and we'll say it's over like $100, that I would spring to use a credit card for. Anything other than that, we're really not looking to use that for. So that's the one change this month that's going. And the other big thing is net worth, over $173,000. It's, I think my first video, we were under 150. So it's been ramping up quite nicely. So it's one thing you want to, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, trying to get out of debt, trying to build your wealth. It takes time. But as long as you have a plan, you can use my plan, you can follow the steps that I provide, you can use the documents that I provide, and it works for me. There's probably some other better or different systems that work for other people out there. This is just what I use, and it has worked tremendously. Again, just going back to coming from $92,000 in a little over a year. Granted, our income got boosted when my wife started working, but you still need a plan. If you don't have a plan, you continue to use credit cards, you rack up consumer debt is at an all-time high, trillions of dollars. You got to pay it back at some point. And just going back to the way, that I sold this whole setup to my wife at the time was, we're at $92,000 in debt. And our average interest rate, the bulk of this money was in our home equity line of credit. So I'll just do some quick math for you guys here. So $92,000, we were paying 6% interest in that home equity line of credit. That's $5,520 that goes towards interest payments every year. That's $460 per month in interest that does not go in my pocket. That was money that we just gave away from our hard-earned money every day. Now we've cleaned that up. If we look at what we currently owed, if I basically said, you know what, we have a little bit of debt, it's not the end of the world, let's see where we would be at. So we'll actually just round this up to $18,000. If it was still on my home equity line of credit, it'd be $1,000 a year, $90 a month. Not as bad, but again, it's still giving money away. Now, the way that I've done everything currently is I couldn't balance transfer $90,000, but I was able to balance transfer what we have remaining onto a one-time 2% fee. So that cuts that interest down to $360 a year or $30 a month. And that was paid up front, and we get everything paid out. So we're trying to minimize the interest that goes out, soon enough we're going to be debt free. Then we're going to pile up probably a 3-month reserve. Stock market's at all-time highs. The economic outlook is not that good. Growth is slowing. A couple companies have started layoffs. So if we do go into a recession, a lot of people start losing their jobs. And the worst thing you want to do is have debt or payments that you can't make. So you can see here all of these payments that we've paid off along the way here. You know, these right here, it's just about $800, $900 in payments that we no longer have. So that's money in our pocket every month. Plus that interest we're not paying, that $400 and something a month. We've put $1,200 a month back in our pockets by paying the stuff off that we bought and not paying interest out to everyone else. So that's how we've been able to ramp up and get out of debt so quickly, is by holding on to our money and not giving it to other people. So we haven't totally cut back on, you know, renovating the home or doing some nice things or spending money where we need to, but we're keeping track. We're not going over a budget. So my last point for the day, we can go ahead and close this. We can close this out. Last month we went over our grocery budget. So just to refresh, we'll go back to the grocery budget. We were over $550 for the month. We had signed up for, after my wife and I sat down, we said, how did we go over the grocery budget? And if we just type in, probably this should filter it all for me. So the newest thing that we did was we signed up for HelloFresh. For those who don't know what it is, it's basically a food delivery service. They give you all the ingredients and meals to cook your own fresh dinners at home. I said, you know what? We haven't cooked in a long time. We are not skilled chefs, but we'd like to learn. So they give you kind of written, like nice printed recipes. You can choose from a whole bunch of different things. I said, you know what? We need to kind of be more proactive about cooking. So we went ahead, we signed up for it. So if I actually just filter this, we'll see here, pending, and then it'll also break this down for just this month alone. We've already spent $100 in it. We're halfway through the month. So by signing up for this on top of our normal grocery budget, we blew by our budget by $200 extra for the month. So this was the culprit. It wasn't that we were spending more money with our normal purchasing habits. It's just we didn't account for how much this was costing. Without, you know, they sign you up first, and the first week is, oh, it's $10, $11, $20, and next thing you know, the real weekly cost is $40 to $50 for 2 meals per night. I said, that's insane. We could be going out to a restaurant, you know, every week or twice a week for that price. That's way too much. So we were able to, we're going to cancel this, but we do have a lot of recipes from here where I am comfortable now to the point where we just do our own food shopping. We can buy our own, you know, potatoes, chicken, meat, whatever it might be, for way less than what they were delivering it for. Yes, it is convenient, but we should be able to go once a week and say, okay, we're going to cook 2 meals minimum a week. We're going to need this. We buy it, and then we cook it the next week, just like we would as if they were delivered to us. So that was the culprit, but by using Simple, we were able to isolate and find out exactly what the issue was, where that extra expense came from, and then make a choice. And the opposite approach here is, you know what? We really love it. It's healthier for us. We enjoy cooking. It's working great. So then I would come into groceries and I would just bump this up from $5.50. I'd make it $7.50 and say, all right, we should be good with that. And that is just our new expense. So I won't be doing that. We chose to go the other path. Let's reverse our track here, and let's just buy the stuff ourselves. We can always look up recipes online. That's the choice that we made. So that'll be all for this episode. Again, if you do like it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and tell your friends. Until then, we will see you the end of this month, the next payday. probably the 2nd or 3rd of December, the next video will be up basically once the next mortgage payment goes out, because that's really the next really kind of biggest bump for the net worth category. See you next time.